Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 24 now of the Red Sea podcast, an episode that you all asked for it to be combined with the post match show today, which led to today's episode probably being one of the more depressing ones of the show's existence. I don't even know what to say about today. I had so much stuff in my mind, and it completely just broke after the torture method that was today's game. Finally, though, one positive thing about the show is that I have Gav with me after I think it's been like a month and a half. How have you
Yeah,
been?
it's been a while. I've been good. It was a lot better before I woke up this morning to watch whatever that was. Yeah, you gotta love some good anti-football to eke out your first nil-nil draw in history against Olympiacos. Panaitolikos, they earned it with that 28% possession. That must have included the time they spent rolling around on the ground because they just, yeah, I don't have a lot of respect for that. But enough of my venting. I'll try to keep that to a minimum.
Nah, honesty is the best policy because I think I saw somewhere, I'm not sure that it's true, but I think I saw somewhere that we had 73 crosses.
I can pull up the stats pretty quickly, actually. It was something
I,
crazy. I know for a fact Panaitolikos had one in the
yeah,
entire 105 minutes of the match, including your added time and
only
stuff.
one. I think we had 73 and only 16 were on target.
So we had
Pretty
16
sure.
accurate crosses, and that was a 22% accuracy. So I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's 16.
I mean, we had what, 31 shots?
Yes, 31 shots, seven on target. No, five on target. Uh, they had seven shots, but those were all from 40 yards out. And
Yeah, I think all of them were off target, pretty sure.
no, they didn't go one on target. I mean, Kostas Tolakis tonight, other than at the end when he had to get into a wrestling match with the Panaitolikos player trying to waste more time, he had nothing to do today. Um, I mean, we could
That's
say that a positive was the defense, but at the same time, they just didn't have a lot to do.
The Rodinei was great today, at least in my opinion. But no, we had a very good right side and a very poor left side. That's the main thing for me today. Because I'm still probably going to get hate for this. I don't know if this is bias, I don't know. But I didn't like Ortega yet today. Especially, I can call back to the chance that Mavrias had, the only good chance
Yeah.
Panathinaikos had, that he came up with no one chasing him. If that
Yeah.
went, if that went in, which yeah, it was an insane chance, but I won't even say that we've scored worse. We've conceded worse. If that
Yeah,
went in,
I would have
there
stopped it
would
right there.
be there would be a whole different conversation about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think
Did
Ortega with
did
as with a
Pauk
lot of
draw?
they did. Let me look.
That's a
Well, they
heavenly scenario. If Pauk draw.
well, this is showing me the game's not over yet, but it is 0-0 90th minute according to FotMob. So I don't know if they're just behind or something, but close to that.
If Greek games are nil-nil in the 90th, probably, unless Panathinaikos had given a penalty.
As is typical in the
Yeah,
47th minute of added
that's
time. That was one of the things I said today. I was watching the game. I saw them call it 8 minutes, and three or four of those minutes were spent with a Panaitolikos player injured or the goalkeeper falling on the ball. And I'm like, I know for a fact they're going to blow this right at 8 minutes, and they blew it at 9. I'm surprised he gave us the one.
I. I think it was right where you said with the Cholakis wrestling match. I think it was Doi that completely bodied the Panathinaikos, and I enjoyed that so much.
That's
I
the
enjoyed
one
that
prop I'll
so
give the
much.
ref. He didn't card him for that, which he shouldn't
Yeah.
have. So I agree. That was probably the one highlight of the night. But back to
Refereeing was surprisingly okay today, honestly.
Who was?
No. The ref, the calls in general, no complaints really.
I wish he would have done a better job kind of controlling the game as far as all the time wasting. I mean, that might be
that's Greek football law, isn't it?
yeah, that might be a nitpicky critique, especially because Panaitolikos were time wasting from the 30th minute.
Half time.
It was ridiculous. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's harsh for me to like say that I wish he would have done better there, but yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot for him to mess up though. I mean, that was the thing. It was a very poor quality game. Back to what you were saying about Ortega. I mean, I think him, and you could say the same for probably 3 or 4 guys that played today. You just a lot of times couldn't really tell they were there, and we didn't seem to have like a very rigid shape. Like that was kind of happening towards the end, where it was like we needed to get forward and make attacks, and for some reason in the middle, it seemed like everybody was all over the place, not really organized. I think that goes back to Panaitolikos and their approach to just really take the game out of the game. I think that definitely got into our players' heads after a certain period of time, because it's like, what do you do when there's 10 guys behind the ball and everything's a 5-minute break when he rolls around on the ground and gets fake sprayed for his hurt ankle. It was a really, really weird game. I think Ortega was definitely kind of off. Stamenic, I've been really trying to defend him, and I think he's been mostly okay today, non-existent.
He gave the ball away too much today.
Even Etze, I mean, he had a better game for sure, but like there was a lot of times where like a ball would get passed into them and it would be like a heavy touch, or they would like lose it momentarily. I noticed it with both the midfielders. I noticed it with El Kabi. He had a really rough game today as well, missed a few really good chances.
That fucking header. I'm gonna say it again because you know that I like to keep at least 1 or 2 positives from everything.
Mhm.
What ball by Carmo, by the way.
Yeah, he was doing really good. Like
didn't expect.
He was
basically
our main,
playing CDM at the end.
Yeah, he was like a deep line playmaker, just whipping balls in, and a lot of them were pretty good crosses. But yeah, I mean, that one, I don't know how you miss it. Like that, he was on the right side of his defender. He was 6 or 7 yards from goal and somehow misses the target. Apparently, he had another sitter he missed while my stream cut out, as you were telling me. There was one in the first half as well where it was kind of like a whiffed shot from Chiquinho from the edge of the box, and it pretty much fell right to Alcabi, and he just misses it right in front of goal. We were not sharp in their box today. We didn't make the most out of really any of our chances, and towards the end, it looked like a lot of desperation and us just whipping crosses in from anywhere and not really finding anybody. It was a lot of ping pong between Willian and Joseph Martins on either side of the box, and then David Carmo. So yeah, it was just there was not a whole lot of consistency in our performance or organization to how we approach the game, and it doesn't work when you're playing a side that's going to pack 10 guys behind the ball and play defense and waste time the entire 90.
And what you said builds perfectly to this. We'll need to find, because I saw a lot of talk about Fortunis, I saw a lot of talk about Potenza again, and I agree. I've openly been attacked, quote unquote, for mentioning Potenza, Fortunis, and Orta, and I agree that they are missing. But with what we have now, until January at least, we need to do this. We need to find a way, because the usual top 5, and I'd say Ofi, Calisea, which are and probably Asteras, that's all the league.
Yeah.
That's how the league's gonna play. And we'll need to find a way. And clearly that wasn't the way today.
Well, the thing that confused me about how we set up is I don't know why we came into the game with 2 holding midfielders. which is why it doesn't make any sense that guys like, Mouzakitis, Papacanelos, guys who obviously they're not going to start for you, but they can give you a spark off the bench and give you some more
Papacanelos
creativity.
played with the youth team today. They won 6-0.
Yeah, I mean, I think those guys need to be getting more exposure in the first team, and clearly we have a need for midfielders who can be creative and forward thinking. Especially until Willian gets up to speed. I was pretty impressed by him today, just for his first appearance, and having not really played in a while. I thought he showed a lot of good signs. Clearly, he looks rusty. Clearly, he probably needs to get his fitness up. But I mean, once he is fit and well, I mean, I really think he needs to be starting at the 10, and Chiquinho needs to be pushed back so he can be more of that box to box. Because obviously you're going to have Etze or Stamenic or hopefully Ndoye, because we like him in midfield and not in defense, as that holding pivot. We really need somebody else who's going to drive forward. I thought Oliveira, he was okay. Obviously, he's not going to be the same sort of impact that Willian's going to have. And again, he's facing the same sort of issues as far as like getting back into shape, getting, acclimated to this team. We really do need to rethink that midfield. And I hope that seeing today and some of the limitations we have in the squad that, Mendilibar looks at guys like Papacanelos and Mouzakitis and some of these youth players that can come in and make a difference. They should be in the squad at least, so you can have them as an impact sub, especially against a team like Panaitolikos. Those guys, come on, they could have come in and absolutely played in that game and made a difference. So, there's definitely some tinkering that needs to happen, and I really don't think that two holding midfielders ever needs to happen against a team like this. Like, maybe it makes more sense when we're playing, Lyon and Porto in Europe and some of these teams that are actually going to give us a game. But when you're going to play a team that's going to put 10 guys behind the ball, you just can't do that, because we wasted 60 minutes or however long it was. So he made subs, and then even some of the subs he made didn't make sense. I don't know why Yaremchuk came in for Velde. He should have come in for Kabi. I thought Velde was pretty good today again. No clue why he was yanked. Overall, it was just, some of the decisions from Mendilibar, I think hopefully he learns lessons from this game, because I think his approach could use some work as well.
I'd argue the Costinha sub made even less sense than the Yaremchuk one.
I mean, I would almost...
Rodinei was our best player today.
Yeah, I don't know why he pulled Rodinei either. I mean, I think at that case, maybe you throw on a center back or maybe a Dani Garcia for like Ortega and play with like 3 at the back or 2 and a holding. Just the subs in the team selection today didn't make a lot of sense. I definitely would have done things differently if I was him, but hopefully it's a good learning experience. We didn't lose, at least. I mean, we've seen some of the big 4 teams already lose these kinds of games this season, so that's a positive. We kept a clean sheet. Granted, Panaitolikos did not come to play whatsoever, so had we conceded or had we lost, that would have been catastrophic as far as just like alarm bells for this team. But yeah, it's frustrating. There's a lot of different angles you could look at it as far as like how we could have played this better and probably gotten a result that suits the difference of the level between the two teams, because there's no way. There's a reason why they'd never gotten a point against us. It should never happen.
I agree fully with what you said, but I want to focus on 2 names that kind of worry me a bit. First of all, as you said, where was... I'd argue I'd sub on Garcia as well today. Where was he? Was he on the bench?
Yeah, he was in the squad, and he was, I believe he was on the bench. I can check that as well.
Yeah, he's been kind of worrying fitness-wise. And another person that has been worrying fitness-wise is Retsov. And I fear that a lot.
Yeah, he's a guy we need to have healthy, obviously, to play center back, but also because he can play fullback on either side if needed, and we know that that's an area we are very shallow in. I'm hoping this is the last game that David Carmo can't start. I think by now he should be up to full fitness. I think that will make a difference as far as, the dynamic of the team. He shows like his ability to push the game forward. I mean, I think Ndoye tried that tonight, but he's just. I feel like he's better when you move him 20 yards up the pitch and he can actually influence the game some more. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of going to be the thing, especially, I know you've talked about that as far as like being worried about the smaller squad. Personally, I'm willing to look at it right now as a positive and not having 40 guys on our first team like we've had the past couple seasons. But if we're going to have significant fitness issues with guys like Danny Garcia, with guys like Panaitolikos, or really anybody who can slot into multiple positions for us, I think we're going to get to a point where there will probably be serious issues as far as who we can select. And I hope we don't get to that point. But yeah, hopefully those guys can come back soon and like be a part of the team, because it's been a muscle injury for Retsos for how many weeks? Usually
before the national break.
Yeah, he was supposed to play in one of the last games and then didn't, and he's still injured now. So we'll see what happens with that. Danny Garcia, I mean, it would have to be a fitness thing. He was in the squad today. He was on the bench. So either his fitness isn't there, or Mendilibar wanted to play Costinha instead. We'll see, but I do think that's definitely something to kind of keep in mind on the background. I wouldn't be freaking out about it yet, but if we continue to see the same sort of trends, like I think we could get to a point where it'll be worrying with small squad, especially with Europe coming up as well.
Yeah, that's mostly what I'm thinking about, because I'm not gonna trust on Oliveira, for example. I'm not gonna trust, especially on Mendilibar, which I'll say it here. I posted about it, but I'll say here, whoever is trusting the coach for what's happening, yeah, I fully with the opinion, the clearly stated opinion that today was bit of a weird game on every side, the coaching side as well. But whoever is trashing on Mendilibar and thinks this is fully his fault, yeah, I'd quit watching football. But yeah, I'm not freaking out about anything yet. I'm not willing to trash anything just yet. But I do want to point out the small things I'm noticing, because these may start to get worrying. And with Regis, it's not just what he gives to the team. Him and Carmo, of course, starting again, gives Pirola the opportunity to take a bit of a breather, because let's not forget, he is still 22, and he, in my opinion, he should be the impact sub, not Carmo for Pirola. And as you said, again, Doi moves back up to the position he's best at, because it takes more responsibilities of moving the play of his shoulders, which, okay, he's not that good at, but it gives him more that he is good at, and which is doing the dirty work that I like to call up the game, that is still nowhere near as appreciated as it should be, but still, I'd I'd argue that he's a needed solution coming off the bench in an ideal scenario, but he's a needed solution in the midfield way, way more than he is in the defense. And I do want to move to the question that I saw a while ago, because I do want your opinion.
I don't necessarily say I would think that he doesn't have a plan B. I think part of what's going on right now is, I think his success last season, almost to a point, kind of does him a disservice at this point, because everyone's just expecting, hey, we're going to come back and we're going to be just like we were last season. I really don't think that a lot of people appreciate what he did last year. Kind of, we talked about it with Viola Nation ahead of the Conference League final. Building a plane in midair is a pretty apt description for what he did. A lot of squad changes this summer. A few new faces. Obviously, players having to fill different roles than they had last season. I still think people got to realize he's a new coach. This is his first full season, full transfer window with the club. So I think right now there's still a lot of figuring out as far as who fits where, what approach he can use with certain players or certain lineups. And listen, I mean, he also didn't really play a team like this last season. He came in pretty much towards the end in the playoffs, where he's again playing a PAOK, Panaitolikos, and Ike, who are actually going to come out and play. He wasn't playing Panaitolikos. He wasn't playing these bottom rung teams who have no other option. They have no plan B other than to come in and pack 10 guys behind the ball. So I think it's still a bit of a learning curve for him. I think people need to be patient and recognize that he's still new in this job. He's still building his squad, which he didn't get to do last season when he came in. And the overall backdrop of where we're at is just very different. So I wouldn't say that. I think that's a good question for, maybe mid-November when we can, see, he's had some time in the job. He's, gotten through some real games, and then we can kind of judge as far as, his adaptability and where his strengths lie as a manager, where his weaknesses lie. But right now, I think it's a little premature, but I understand where the thought process is.
I mostly want to build off the point that you said, which is what I was gonna scream to the fucking heavens about, that he has not faced a must-win game here against a team like Panaitolikos that just doesn't play football. Like, let's not lie to ourselves. You mentioned the stats, I mentioned the stats, we all saw the stats. He hasn't. It's not only that he hadn't faced a team like Panaitolikos, the league was clearly not the priority when he came in because it had been fucked completely. And I saw the opinion that he is the reason that we lost the league last year, and I want to jump out the window. And I saw someone saying that Greek Twitter, and especially the red and white Twitter, after an Olympiacos draw or loss is insane. It can honestly be considered a social experiment.
I mean, is it his fault that he came in and we were 15 points? Well, how far off of first place were we? And we ended up in a title race. That's ridiculous. But I mean, it is true. We do have a pretty reactionary fan base, as anybody will learn sticking with this team over any extended period of time. The reactionary stuff's going to happen. I think, as frustrating as today was, really, it doesn't concern me that much about the team and our trajectory and going
We're,
forward.
we're still first.
Exactly. And I mean, we've conceded 1 goal in 4 league games.
The only thing that's changed in the table is if I win tomorrow, they just catch up to us in PAOK. Nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Panathinaikos have already they lost to Asteras in the first week, and then they had a draw with Kalithea. Ike almost lost to Lamia. I mean, we're not the only team having these struggles early in the season. This is the time to get those kind of crappy results out of the way. Again, I'm not going to really be concerned about any of this stuff until we're seeing it happen consistently in October, November, December. Then you're getting to a point where it's like, okay, something's wrong here, either with the squad construction or the approach. We have not reached that point yet. I really implore people to be patient. These things take time. Give him a season to fully build out a squad. You look back at some of the other managers we've had, is even recently, like Pedro Martins. We really didn't hit our stride with him until his second full season, when we were in that Champions League group and we're competing with Tottenham and Bayern. I mean, his first season, we finished 3rd in the league again, and we're in the Europa League and struggling in some of those matches as well. So, got to be patient. I still fully trust Mendilibar and a lot of these players. Really, there's only a few question marks for me as far as guys that, do they belong with the squad long term or not? People just need to be patient. Don't freak out. We're okay. The sky's not falling. It's one bad result, and it's not even that bad of a result because we didn't lose.
First thing, can you still hear me, see me? Am I
Yeah,
okay? Okay, because on my thank God I have the laptop set up because on my phone the screen is frozen. So just keep me updated if anything messes up.
yeah, no, you're
Uh,
going great.
I feel like mentioning Martin's name at this point is it starts a civil war. It's insane.
I
It's
mean, I don't.
insane to think about what has happened between him getting sacked and now.
Well, and I mean, I'm not even a Martin's enjoyer. I mean, I fully supported him getting sacked when he did, and I was already beginning to be frustrated with him for probably a
Oh,
year and a half leading up to that.
we've talked about it. I've been calling for his head since that Pauk lost cup final.
Yeah, I mean,
Think he should have gone then.
I agree. But I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, we are both guys who can sit here and say we weren't his biggest fan, but we can point and look back and be like, listen, it took him a while to get us to where he had us at our best. I think Jose Luis Mendilibar is a much, 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 much better coach. Give him some time. I think, exactly. I mean, Pedro Martins, his CV before he got to us was, second division in Portugal. I mean, we're talking about a manager who's won the Europa League and I won the Conference League with us. I mean, come on. I do get kind of tired of seeing people just flip the table after our first semi-bad result of the season. It should be patient, calm down. You're going to be fine.
I feel like asking Greeks to be patient is like a near impossible feat, honestly. And I feel like, not I feel like, I fear mostly that Mendilibar is going to get the Greek media treatment, as I call it. And I'm really not anticipating that because it's already started on Twitter, as I said before, and as I will call out anytime. But it's all weird. We need to escape the Greek mindset. If we do want to be a level above everyone, we need to escape the Greek mindset. We
I mean,
really need.
I think the good news there is he comes from Spain, and if anybody's media and environment surrounding the sport of football is as crazy as it is in Greece, Spain definitely gives us a run for our money. So hopefully he's able to block all that stuff out. Anybody who's a real fan and serious about actually supporting the team and not just being a whiner and a hater will be patient with him. Again, we're fine. We should have won today. We were clearly the better side, even with some questions as far as his setup and his subs. So let him get some of these games under his belt. This is what the league is like for us. It's never going to change. You know, you just got to take it one game at a time. Luckily, for some reason I woke up this morning. I thought we had Lyon on Thursday. Apparently, we don't start for another 2 weeks in the Europa League. I was confused because Champions League starts this week. Whole new format is throwing me
The
for a twist.
have it in front of me. Yeah, it's September 26th.
Yeah, I was fully expecting it to be Thursday, so that's good. I do not want to play that game for a couple more weeks. I want you know
We
some
have
of these guys
who
to gel
do
more and get more
we have
fitness.
Aris. We have Aris. Aris away is your next game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that game will be
It's a good
a
one.
much. Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna do what Panaitolikos did today, which thank God because I don't think I could sit through
It,
two of those
it,
games in a row.
it's a normal football team, but it's not a derby. It's the team between that we needed before someone like Lyon at least.
Yeah,
Shall we get into the to the Europa League because a lot has changed since I last spoke, since I made my prediction. Still positive, still more than positive, honestly.
yeah. I'm just trying to pull
But
up the
it's gonna
matches.
be. I have
Um,
them.
yeah, I have them here too. I mean, I think Lyon is a good place to
Oh no.
going to be interested to see how that kind of plays out. But in general, I mean, I don't think we've gotten together really and done predictions. But I'm more than confident that we'll make it into the the first knockout for sure. I mean, we should do that in our sleep. And I think we do have a genuine opportunity to make it to that round of 16 and like miss that first round of playoffs and be a seeded team.
I mean, after how my Super League predictions are going, I fear making more official predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a website that lets you like calculate it and like goes so you basically put your score for each game and it does the whole table. I mean, I think we have a more than for sure. I totally agree with that. I mean, part of it too is again we're not going to have teams that are going to play like Panaitolikos. I mean, you look through our schedule, the worst team we play is arguably Steaua Bucharest away.
It's also player motivation.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Of course,
I think
they're gonna try more in the. I mean, the main example that comes to mind every time when I say that, of course, players are gonna try more in Europe than they will in the Greek Super League is Mendilibar. Always comes to mind. Always comes to mind.
Scoring worldies in the Champions League, but he can't track the ball when he's playing Atromitos on a Tuesday night. It's ridiculous. I can't wait. I was so pleased when he was at fault for a PAOK goal.
Oh, I celebrated, and I'll say it openly. I think I texted you laughing my ass off immediately too.
That is Marika Mara. He'll probably go out and ball out for them in the Europa League. Which hey, you know what? I'll take it. Give us the coefficient points, whatever. But what a joke of a player! Just some of these guys, him, Huang and Baum. I'm like, I'm so happy to see you guys struggle and find your level at a worse team after you forced your way out. It's just
you
it's
can make such a list out of these players, honestly. It's really not worth mentioning sometimes, but it's so funny. It's honestly so funny.
Yeah, I mean, we have to tamper the torture that we had to be put through this morning with some something humorous.
But yeah, we'll definitely raise our levels, that's for sure. And I do still think that we'll make the round of 16 immediately, just not as confidently as I thought we would when the draw first came out. Like I do stick with your prediction that it will probably be 5-1 to 5 wins, 1 draw and 2, or 6-0 to one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think
we'll definitely lose to who is it? I forgot again. Porto. Yeah.
That one I'm not expecting anything out of that game. I don't expect a whole lot out of the Lyon game, although why would he be embarrassed? That's his level. PAOK and Madi Kamara are a match made in heaven. He must be so at home there. Back to the European stuff. I mean, I think Lyon would be a tough match, but they're definitely beatable because they've been a mess the past few years. But again, it's a hostile environment. I think that's a good first match to kind of like.
Still are, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, they qualified for Europe last season.
Yeah, but if you see how many people left again.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's almost too big of a club to really drop off too much. I mean, they were in a relegation battle in like November last season and still qualified for Europe. So I mean, still have to take them seriously. I don't think it's going to be like a Porto match for sure, but I do think it'll be a decent test to start with. The only stretch of fixtures that kind of worries me is in between. I believe this is our third European match and our fourth European match. We have PAOK and AEK back to back. We go Rangers at home, PAOK away, AEK at home, and then Steaua Bucharest away. That's going
not to underestimate them, because that is a team that can easily kill you if you're not careful enough, as happens with European underdogs. But Jesus, that's a week.
Yeah,
I guess the PAOK game would move, surely, right?
I doubt it. It's a Thursday, Sunday.
Who do they
I don't think
play?
they would. I mean, maybe I could see them bumping it to like Monday, but
At least.
yeah, I would take it. I'm just saying I don't have a lot of confidence. I mean, I guess it would make sense because Pauk will have a match too.
I'm going to check who they play. Just if they play United, it's moved. And they will accept. I think they're the ones that will ask for it.
They are playing United away.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's no way it's the.
You might be onto something.
As happened, it happened with. Pretty sure it happened with PAOK again last year, where we both were playing Europe, and the one of the two we were playing them back to back, and one of the two games just fucked off to next month, I think.
Yeah, that was the quarterfinals of the Conference League. So I mean, I hope they do. I mean, from an us perspective, from a Greece perspective, I mean, listen, I want them to make the schedule as forgiving as possible for all three of the teams that are involved. In Europe, club rivalries don't exist. That's the way I see it. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
People show it like that.
Yeah, I mean,
me included. I'm not in it.
I mean, that's the thing for me is like, it kind of takes an adjustment. I used to kind of be like that at the beginning, but at the same time, it's like, I want Panaithinaikos to.
That's two losses.
That's another tough one.
That's two losses, isn't it?
We need to clean up the derby record against Panaithinaikos. I cannot take any more losses to them this season, especially at home. But they're such a weird team too. It's like
that's the only thing that gives me a bit of confidence that it's at home.
Yeah, but I mean, Panaithinaikos this season, I don't know what to make of them, to be honest. I mean, they played really well in spurts against Lons and Ajax, but then they also, are losing to Asteras and can't beat Kalithea. So I don't know what's going on there. The other thing is, will Fotis Ioannidis still be at Panaithinaikos in the new year for that match? Might not. I mean, I think he could have a move coming.
He'll leave next summer, I think.
We'll see.
It's true that they were denying around 2025, I think it's the same situation as the Ike Garcia. I think he'd probably leave next summer.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's one of those things. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. They'll have a match ahead of that game as well, so I think that's the only other good thing is they'll also be playing, or will they? They might not be playing because I think the Conference League has less matches.
I don't think they're playing because Porto is our 7th match. I'm pretty sure, or is it the final one?
No, I think it's.
I'll see. I'll see.
7th match. It is the 7th because our last match is Karabakh at
they're not playing, so that's not going nowhere. They're not accepting to me. There's no way they will.
No way in hell. Yeah, we got a couple tough schedule runs there with the Europa League. I mean, overall, I think we have a pretty decent schedule as far as not playing too many super hard teams. But
no, the draw was sent from heaven, honestly.
I mean, for all three clubs, just to briefly touch on that, I mean, I think we genuinely have a chance to get 12th or 13th in the coefficient again. And
they may play. That's interesting. They may.
I mean, this is the one thing I'll say about Panaithinaikos in Europe this season. I'm really glad they qualified for the Conference League. For the Milko Cup, as they like to call it, they better piss this competition. If they don't make the quarterfinals at least.
They won't though, will they?
Have you seen their schedule? I mean, some of the teams they're playing. I mean, they're playing the New Saints away. At like a 1,500 seater stadium.
This is the only thing that I'm with them. That stadium looks horrible. That stadium is a health hazard.
I mean, there's that, but I mean, at the same time, we have the Lamias and the Olympiacos of the world here. So
yeah, but
they should be
Europe.
They should be
like, come on.
I mean, that team is basically semi-professional if they can't beat them by 5 or 6 goals.
I think
Really-
they're making it into but I think they're being booted in the round of 32.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be in the round. I think they're going to be top
You
8.
think okay, yeah.
I mean, the only team they play is Chelsea. The rest of their games are ridiculously easy. Like, genuinely, if they don't win at least 4 of their 6 matches.
If Alonso stays, they're not making it. If he leaves, they make it. I don't like this guy. I don't know why.
I mean, they're a weird team. I don't know what to make of it. All I'm going to say, yeah. I mean,
given that PAOK are the better team.
Who was the Bosnian team last season? I think it was Zrinski. I want to say they beat AZ at home. The Bosnian teams can be tough. That's a really hard place to play. I think when I did my predictions, I think I predicted they would draw away at Borac and that they would lose at home to Chelsea. I think I predicted them to win the other 4. But for all the talk this summer about it being a fake European competition and this and that, they should be breezing it. I mean, this is like their 4th time competing compared to our 1 where we just went and won it. So that's my only thing, and maybe that's just me being petty, but
you're right.
they better do really well this season in Europe. After all the talk, that's all I got to say. I'm really glad they qualified for that competition.
And again, there is, if we want to be fully unbiased, yeah, there is a big chance they even make the quarters. But I honestly think that even fucking karma will hit back and they'll just get dumped by the first knockout round. But we'll see. Honestly,
there's no Europa teams dropping anymore. No, there's no exchange between the leagues. So,
but I still think, yeah, the conference of course lost a lot of firepower, but I still think there is 1 or 2 teams.
It's Fiorentina, Betis, and Chelsea. I mean, genuinely, there's 3 teams.
We'll see. I think that's it. I think that's enough depression for today. Jesus Christ.
Just like our match, it was not a good flow.
No. A lot can change in very little time. That's the thing. That's the thing we need to keep in mind. A lot can change in
be patient.
Very little time. Be patient, and of course, if you like what you say, I'm finally putting the links in the description. I'm finally remembering. Jesus Christ. But yeah, episode should be up on Spotify around about an hour or 2. So yeah, that's it. Probably gonna be back live midweek if there is anything. Otherwise, next week against Aris.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you in the next one.
See you, dude.